University, Greater Allegheny, as we bring you for the Penn State University Athletic Conference on the Champ Sports Network. Good afternoon, everybody. It's Sean Gallagher alongside with Mike Asti. Penn State Greater Allegheny this year, 15-9 overall, and Penn State Beaver 16-10. Both of these teams playing for a chance to play in the PSUAC championship game at the Bryce Jordan Center on Tuesday night, where they will face either Brandywine or South Fayette. Now, of course, our lineups are being announced right now, but Mike, what is the biggest thing we're going to see here between these two schools?
Well, you have two schools here that have got to this point, so obviously they're good enough to have a chance to vie for a championship. They're going to be laying it all on the line. And when you look at these two squads and what I've seen from Penn State Greater Allegheny and the women through most of the season, they've been able to stay with almost every team they play with this year. And as long as they play their A game, they should be able to get a victory.
The national anthem being performed here inside the gymnasium. Now, of course, 24 satellite campuses for Penn State University, and it all comes down to these Final Four, and the lineups are being introduced right now. Penn State Greater Allegheny. They will be wearing uniforms with blue trimming. Meanwhile, Penn State Beaver, the road team, will be wearing their blue jerseys with the white trimming. And just a reminder, Tuesday, February 25th, the championship game for both the men and women's PSUAC conferences will be at the Bryce Jordan Center in Happy Valley at State College. The 6 o'clock tip-off for the women and 8 p.m. for the men. And, of course, right now at Penn State University, the Bryce Jordan Center.
But yeah, have a memorable event in Penn State University history that they do every year, and such a great time there and all the money that they raise. And then it'll be followed up by a fight for a championship here by the satellite campuses.
Beaver has just been announced, and we will have the lineups for you as they are introduced. Of course, Greater Allegheny 9-4 at home this season. Penn State Beaver is 6-6 on the road. Christina Floyd, the first one for Greater Allegheny to be introduced, a junior forward out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Number 52, Aquila Youngblood from right here in Pittsburgh, the freshman forward out of Obama Academy. Number 23, Nikayla Lane out of Pittsburgh from Taylor Alderdice. Shelby Bendick, junior guard from White Oak out of McKeesport right across the street. And number 5, Taylor Fulton, the senior point guard from Duquesne out of West Mifflin High School. Those are the starting 5 for the Penn State Greater Allegheny Nittany Lions. And we are just about set here to get going from Wonderlay Gym.
Get the handshakes there with the coach for some good luck maybe for Penn State GA. And even having called a couple of their games a season ago and seeing this team grow up, this has now become a veteran team that believes they could be here, and a team that, unlike the men who kind of had some growing pains and had to rebuild, this team always felt like they could be championship caliber.
Just about to tip off here Penn State Greater Allegheny will be moving left to right from our direction. Penn State Beaver right to left. As the official moves into center ice on that Nittany Line logo, and we are underway. Penn State Greater Allegheny gets the opening. Bendick leaves it for Fulton. Fulton working up top to start this game for Greater Allegheny. That's Bendick on the near wing, down low. Here's Youngblood, puts it in underneath. 2-0 lead early on for Greater Allegheny.
And Youngblood is a difference maker. She is the biggest player on the floor. She can get the rebounds and work the glass and provide that X factor for Penn State GA.
Kurtz leaves it for DiPetro. DiPetro working on the right wing. Looking, finds her teammate, number 25, Hill. Long three attempt is good by DiPetro from the far end. 3-2, Beaver leading Greater Allegheny.
Just a one-on-one coverage and that outside shooting presence for Penn State Beaver. You got to tip your cap on that three-point shot.
Bolton working the right wing. On the near center of the baseline was Bendick over to Youngblood. She has the first 4 points for Greater Allegheny. The long two, it's 4-3.
Penn State GA now coming with more of a trap defense. They don't even want Penn State Beaver to get through the zone and able to get the basketball there on the turnover.
DiPetro turns it over back to Greater Allegheny in the first minute here.
That's something that could steal momentum because they needed something with all the high scoring, and usually you don't get that much scoring in the first few minutes from these two clubs.
Bolton working it to Lane, down low, trying to find Floyd. Goes out of bounds. Ball will stay with Greater Allegheny. Fulton will inbound underneath the basket for Greater Allegheny. We'll work it back up top. That'll be Lane working the point. Along the right wing, looking to drive down low is Bendick. She stops, has two women on her. Jumper by number 23, Lane, no good. Rebound, can't put it in. That's Floyd, and it goes back to Beaver as number 21 for Beaver, Kurt, settles it down. Here they come on a fast break. This is DiPetro. DiPetro throws it up, and she's fouled. She goes in hard. That'll be the first foul we see today. And it will be on Aquila Youngblood. That'll be her first personal, first-team foul for Greater Allegheny. And that will send number 23, Mason DiPetro from Coriopolis, to the line. She misses the first one, still 4-3 early on.
And a smaller body for DiPetro to go through traffic there. She knew she was going to draw the foul against a much larger defender.
Second attempt is in and good. Tied game 4-4. As Greater Allegheny moves it back the other way. Beaver this year, shooting from the free throw line, is 61%. Here's Fulton working along the right wing. Jumper for three, and it's good. Shelby Bendick out of McKeesport.
Hometown flavor there.
Gives her team a 7-4 lead. Coming back the other way, finding an opening is Beaver. Down low, Kurtz goes up and she's fouled. Back to the line goes Penn State Beaver.
And Penn State Beaver now obviously has a game plan where they realize they're smaller. They're going to go towards traffic and try to draw the foul. They've now done it consecutive possessions, and Penn State GA is going to need to adapt. And even though you want to play physical defense, they're going to need to maybe lay off a little bit because if Penn State Beaver makes their free throw, this could really even up things.
Christina Floyd, the junior forward out of Philadelphia. Or excuse me, that is Christina Floyd.
Last basket by Shelby Bendick was a 2.
And they changed the scoring on it. Shelby Bendick's three is actually a long 2, so 6-4 in favor of Greater Allegheny. Megan Kurtz makes the first one. She's out of Washington, PA, Trinity High School. A lot of local WPIAL players on both of these Penn State teams.
Yeah, maybe some players that previously have been called on Champ Sports Network broadcast.
Kurtz, second attempt is good. 7-6. Or 6-6, excuse me.
Yeah, for me, though, it looked like that was a three-point shot. It looked like just beyond the 3 line. Apparently it has changed to a 2.
Fulton driving down low. Finds her teammate, and that is Floyd to put it in off the glass. And we have a timeout call by Greater Allegheny. 30-second timeout. We are just a little over 2 minutes into this one. Greater Allegheny leads 8-6. Now, of course, the winner of this one will take on Brandywine or South Fayette campus. And the last time I checked, they were late in the second half, so we'll try to get you an update of that one. But, Mike, tell me, what have you seen early on here? I know we're only about a little under 2.5 minutes in, but what have you seen from both teams as we've gone through the early part?
Well, both teams have had almost every possession be successful. They're making the most out of each possession. Penn State Beaver going more through the lane, trying to use the paint besides that one three-point shot, realizing they're undersized but trying to draw fouls, and they have. Penn State Greater Allegheny playing a slower game and trying to get everyone's hands on the basketball, get the best high percentage shot they can. They've been able to hit some jumpers and also been able to get the rebounds, as Youngblood should give them through most of the game.
Here comes Beaver back the other way, down the lane. That was Fultz looking for the two, no good. That was Hill. Rebound picked up by Fulton of Greater Allegheny. They come back the other way, forecourt at the top of the point. Looks to drive down low, finding a man underneath, or excuse me, a woman underneath. That's Aquila Youngblood. She has 2 on that one. It's 10-6. That gives her 6 points today.
Hard to defend her. She's just so big, much bigger than everybody else. It's really hard to defend a muscular player like that has a jump shot.
And Kaylin Hill steps out of bounds. The ball will go back to Greater Allegheny as Bendick will inbound. Just give you an update. Penn State Brandywine defeats Penn State South Fayette in what was a good one, 86-84. So Brandywine will wait for the winner of this one for Tuesday at the Jordan Center. Greater Allegheny the other way. Shot no good by Floyd. Beaver comes back the other way. Coming in with Kurtz. Kurtz throws it up, no good. Rebound picked up and settled down by Lane. Fulton comes back the other way. Driving down low, trying to find Youngblood. Goes out of bounds. Last touch by a Beaver player. And Greater Allegheny will inbound from underneath the basket.
Penn State Greater Allegheny able to use the glass to get extended possessions, to get stops on defense, but also give themselves more time on offense.
Fulton trying to find a teammate. She'll work it back up top. Back to Floyd. She's at the top of the point. Being covered by Flowers. Leaves it off for Fulton. Works over toward the right wing. Looking to move in down low in the lane. Loses it. Youngblood trying to pick it up. It'll be a toss-up. Possession arrow is with Beaver. So it goes back to the team in black. They're actually wearing black uniforms, excuse me, from what it looks like with the
black on blue. Not the most friendly to the broadcaster.
Yeah, not the traditional Penn State colors like we see with Penn State Greater Allegheny.
No, but I kind of like it, though. It's kind of a fresh look and more of a modern look than even the historic Penn State Nittany Lion blue and white.
And there will be a foul called on Fulton. That'll be her first personal. And the team's third here for Greater Allegheny in the first half.
And it's been a clump of 3 fouls, too, that have led to free throws and now a turnover on possession for Penn State Beaver. They've really been able to get back in the game off the fouls.
DePetro down. Out of bounds. Last touch by Beaver. Ball goes back to Greater Allegheny. Greater Allegheny leading here by 4 in the first 3.5 minutes.
Penn State Greater Allegheny just in no rush to get down the court. They want to use as much as they can on each possession.
Fulton brings it back along the right wing. Working toward the right side. Trying to work through a double team. Bounce pass. Leaves it for Bendick. Back to Fulton. Fulton looking, driving down the lane. Gets stopped right at the free throw line. Trying to find her teammate down low. Turnover. And they'll come back the other way as number 15, Natalie Gamble, is able to take that one away. Down low to Petro, trying to go with the windmill shot. No good. Ball last touched by Greater Allegheny. It will stay with Beaver. And it will be number 25, Kaylin Hill, out of Montour, to inbound for Beaver. Bounce pass down low. Jumper by Flowers. No good off the glass and rim. Picked up on the rebound. And the other way comes Fulton and Greater Allegheny, a substitute upcoming for Greater Allegheny. Jumper for 2 on the far side. Good. That is Nikayla Lane, the junior guard. Beaver back the other way. This is Kurtz. Working it back toward the far end. Driving down low to Petra. She runs into 2 Greater Allegheny players.
Like a brick wall, she runs right into them.
And who will be the guilty party here will be Youngblood. That'll be her second personal, the 4th team foul for Greater Allegheny. We have some substitutions. Number 15, Taisha Carswell, and number 14, Tanisha Gibson will come in for Youngblood and for Lane.
And really, on that foul, she ran into a brick wall, fell down on a brick wall, but I don't know what else the defenders for Penn State Allegheny could have done. They didn't even turn around and see her coming.
Flowers gets the inbound, works it back up top. This is DePetro working along the near wing. Jump up inside, bounces off the rim and out, no good. Rebound picked up by Gibson, who just came into the game. Back the other way, forecourt is Greater Allegheny. 5 minutes in, a 12-6 lead for the home team, Greater Allegheny. Fulton with it now on the far end near the baseline. Bounce pass, leaves it. That is Carswell. Tries to go and she's fouled. And she'll head to the line for two. Number 21, Morgan Kurtz, will be called for the foul. First personal in the team's first as Tricia Carswell takes her first shot, bounces in and good. Out of Steel Valley from Homestead, and we have a member of our Champ Sports family who happened to go to Steel Valley.
We do.
None other than Charlie Batch.
We do, one of the most recognized members of the Champ Sports Network family.
Carswell's second attempt is good. 14-6 in favor of Greater Allegheny as Penn State Beaver moves it back the other way. Long pass, down low. Working that is Hill, back up top to Petro. Leaves it for Gamble, trying to throw in the one-hander, no good. Rebound down low, that's Flowers, she's fouled. And number 22, Shelby Bendick, will pick up her first foul, the 15th foul for Greater Allegheny.
You know, I don't know about you, but I've called a lot of women's basketball in the last year or so, and this is a really tight game. These referees are now getting involved on some of these being ticky-tack fouls. Any type of contact has now been a foul. You got to let them play a little bit.
Borders will come in for Gamble for Penn State Beaver. Flowers' first attempt went around the world and came out of the basket. The second attempt is no good, 0 for 2 from the line. And Penn State Greater Allegheny brings it back the other way. It's Fulton. Fulton looking to move through. Kurtz does, throws it up. And she is fouled as she went up with the ball, kind of an underhand shot. Just let it go. And number 32, Asia Borders, out of Elwood City, will be called for the foul. First personal for her, second team foul for Penn State Beaver.
At least they're evening up things, though. All the fouls against Penn State GA, and now there's some fouls in their favor.
Fulton's first attempt is good, 15-6, a substitution upcoming. Number 22, Kalia Adams, out of Washington, D.C., will come in for Kaylin Hill. Fulton's second attempt bounces out, no good. Rebound picked up by Greater Allegheny, then she loses it, and it'll be taken by Kalia Adams. Now with it is DePetro looking for Adams. Adams down low from the free throw line, a jumper shot, no good. Rebound. She picks up her own shot, Borders. Borders again, long two from the far wing, it's good. 15-8 in favor of Greater Allegheny, 6 minutes in.
Penn State Beaver still getting shots off, though.
Fulton working the top of the point, over to the far near end. And number 15, Tricia Carswell, will be fouled. It will be on number 52, or 32, Asia Borders. That'll be her second personal, third team foul for Beaver. They'll inbound on the near side from the baseline. Here's a long two attempt, no good, as Bendick gets her own rebound, and she'll be called for a walk. And the ball will go back to Beaver.
One extra step, it is the right call there. 13:41 now in the first half, 15-8 the score. Penn State GA has been able to keep themselves in front through most of this game after beginning trailing.
Almost a takeaway by Greater Allegheny, but Kurt's able to gather it in, driving down the lane, throws it up, no good, no foul. Rebound picked up by Flowers. She's able to put it in on a putback, 15-10.
Would have been a highlight reel play by Kurtz if she got it off there between two defenders on one arm trying to get the layup.
Bendick working into Carswell, bounce pass inside to Fulton, who's working inside, back outside. On the near wing attempt, no good. Looking down low, and they finally bank it off the glass on the putback. That's number 32, Christina Floyd. 17-10, Penn State Greater Allegheny leading Penn State Beaver. Here's DePetro working back to Kurtz. Long three. Off the backboard. No good. Rebound. And that is Carswell going down hard. And that'll be on number 10, Kelsey Brooks out of Carrick.
Penn State Beaver just has no answer for Penn State Greater Allegheny defensively. That's the problem. They have no answer defensively. Penn State Greater Allegheny can get to the hoop, can get shots off, and go through the paint every single possession.
Nikayla Lane will come back in. Tanisha Gibson will come out. Bendick, pass forecourt. Working the point right now. We saw a lot of Fulton doing that earlier in the game. Here's Fulton working on a double team. Back outside toward the right wing. Far side baseline, and another travel call on Greater Allegheny. This time Lane is guilty.
Another possession in a row there with the travel, and they're kind of just allowing Penn State Beaver to get back in this game if they can hit some shots. They're only killing themselves defensively if they would miss.
Here's a fast break. Number 10 for Greater Allegheny. Kelsey Brooks can't put it in. Rebound picked up on the play by Floyd of Greater Allegheny. They'll settle things down and move back the other way. And if you're just joining us from our direction, Greater Allegheny is moving left to right. Works it over to the far side. Jumper, no good. That would have been 2. Bendick works it back up top. Fulton driving down the lane. Underhand, tries to roll it in. No good. Picked up on the rebound by Kurtz of Penn State Beaver. Then she turns it over. Fulton gets it. Driving down lane, off the backboard, no good. Put back and able to put it in is number 32, Christina Floyd.
And that is hustle for 2 points if I've ever seen it. 2 possessions, all that passing. Bendick with an excellent pass to keep up the shot underneath the hoop.
19-10, Greater Allegheny. That is Brooks, no good. Down low for Penn State Beaver. Another jump ball, and this time it will go to Greater Allegheny as the arrow was in their possession. Substitution for Penn State Beaver as Natalie Gamble. She comes back in, and Kelsey Brooks will have a seat for Penn State Beaver.
To get those 2 points, though, after the steal, after all the misses, after all the rebounding on the last possession, that's what's going to make the coach clap his hands. That's what they teach in practice. You saw how invigorated he was on the sideline to just get those 2.
Fulton works it to Carswell, looking down low. Here's Floyd, jumper for 2, no good. Rebound picked up by Carswell. Carswell, Fulton, this time Bendick. Long 2 from the near side. 21-10, Penn State Greater Allegheny leading Penn State Beaver. Working it down low, Flowers. Long 3 actually for Adams. Talia Adams gets the 3 for Penn State Beaver, 21-13.
They've tried that 3-point shot with multiple players all game and finally were able to nail it.
Penn State Greater Allegheny back on their offensive end. It's Fulton. Substitution upcoming again for Greater Allegheny. Far side, no good for the 2. And will be DePetro comes out with it with Penn State Beaver. Fast break. 2-on-1. Down low. Off the glass and in. Morgan Kurtz gets the 2, 21-15.
She is the focal point of this offense. She is putting this team on her back and trying to carry them.
Here's Lane. Leaves it for Fulton as she sets up the screen. Driving down low, and she just throws it up as she goes through 2 Penn State Beaver players, turns it over. Here's DePetro again on a fast break. 1-on-1. Windmill up. No good. Off the rim. Rebound. Last touch by Penn State Beaver. Natalie Gamble got a piece of it trying to keep it in bounds. We have a substitution. Will come in, and Carswell will come out for Penn State Greater Allegheny.
Kurtz on the last possession, on the last shot for Penn State Greater Allegheny, really just tremendous job defensively, laying her body in there and getting the stop for Penn State Beaver.
Fulton back with it along the right wing. Works over the near side. Long 3 misses. That was number 32, Christina Floyd, taking the shot. Penn State Beaver regroups and gets it as Adams will move it past forecourt for Penn State Beaver. Works it over to the far end. That's Brittany Menard out of Beaver Falls. Gamble to Kurtz. They're working the outside of the perimeter here, Penn State Beaver. Long 3 by Kurtz, and she makes it. I think that's almost close to the NBA 3.
Yeah, that's about NBA range. That's the longest shot she's taken all game, and at first you don't succeed, try again. She gets 3 points on the splash.
That brings the deficit down to 3. for Penn State Beaver. Greater Allegheny back the other way. Long two. A laser by Lane. No good. And a foul will be called. And it'll be on Penn State Beavers number 15, Natalie Gamble, out of Stowe Rocks.
What's happened here, though, is Penn State Greater Allegheny kind of maybe relaxed. They turning the basketball over, not doing anything on offensive possessions, unlike being so successful in the first 10 minutes.
So Floyd will come to the line, her team leading by 3. First attempt is good. Both teams with 5 fouls here in the first half.
Penn State Beavers hit almost every shot they can. They've done everything they offensive possessions during the drought for Penn State Greater Allegheny, but the free throws could become the equalizer.
Second attempt is good, Christina Floyd. This year, Penn State Greater Allegheny shooting an average of 58.2% from the line. Here's Adams for Penn State Beaver as they move it back the other way. Mineard to Adams, looking down low for Flowers, all alone, banks it off the glass and in. 23-20 in favor of Greater Allegheny, and we have a timeout. It'll be a 30-second time. Be a 30-second timeout. So the score: Greater Allegheny 23, Penn State Beaver 20 here in the Penn State University Athletic Conference Final Four. Now, of course, as we mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast, Penn State, 24 satellite campuses. Usually they narrow this tournament down to the best 8. I was talking to Matt Fargo. Apparently you need a 500 record to get into this one, so they only had 6 teams, and 2 teams got a bye.
Yeah, well,
that's interesting.
If you're going to have 6, you're going to get a bye, which maybe not even something you want because you want to come into the tournament red hot like this. But if you're not 500, I can't argue with that. If you're not 500, if you're not at least above 500, you shouldn't be able to win a championship. And by being in a tournament, you never know the results. You could end up winning. There can be upsets in March Madness.
Have you seen the NBA's Eastern Conference?
Yeah, exactly. Granted, they don't necessarily have any upsets there. The teams under 500 getting in.
Play continues. Greater Allegheny working in their offensive end. Here's a jumper by Gibson. No good. Rebound picked up by Flowers. And Kurtz will bring it back the other way for Penn State Beaver. Fulton goes for the steal. She's all alone on a breakaway. Easy layup for Fulton. 25-20 in favor of Penn State Greater Allegheny.
And they needed that timeout. That timeout gave them the kick in the pants, and Fulton, that point guard pickpocket, able to get the 2 points on a layup.
Adams and Kurtz working down low. Adams tries to work into Flowers. Turnover as Lane gets in, and Fulton brings it back. Past center court. She's on the right wing right now. Long three off the glass. No good. Rebound. Gibson loses it, and she's fouled by Adams. And Adams does not agree with the call. That'll be Adams' first personal foul and the 16th foul for Penn State Beaver.
And I can kind of hear Adams because, again, it was ticky-tacky as many of these fouls have been in this game. But they now know how this is going to be called. It's going to be a very tight game, and Youngblood to the free throw line after she's kind of been contained for the last few minutes.
That's actually Gibson. Gibson's first attempt is good. Gibson is a freshman forward, as we mentioned at the top of the broadcast. She is one of 2 members of this team that came out of Obama Academy right here in Pittsburgh. Her and Youngblood both played together at Obama Academy.
Yeah, you can kind of understand how someone could mistake the 2 of them. Look very similar build, similar type players, but Youngblood was that player that was making such a difference in the first few minutes that's not been able to recently.
Carswell back in the game for Greater Allegheny as Lane will come out for the, I guess you can't call them, the Greater Allegheny Nittany Lions. Here's Mineard leaving it. Adams back to Mineard. She's looking to drive down low. Throws up and in and a 1. Nice play by number 3, Brittany Menard. And there will be a foul on Christina Floyd. That'll be her second personal. 16th foul for Penn State Greater Allegheny.
Menard with the explanation point on that and 1. They've tried so many times to go through lane and get the and 1, finally drawing the foul on top of the shot.
Menard's attempt is good. The guard, a sophomore out of Beaver Falls. She makes it a 3-point play, 27-23. It's a 4-point game. Fulton back with it on Greater Allegheny. Working on the near side toward the baseline, driving inside. That was Carswell. Turnover. Adams gets a hold of it. Odd man rush as she brings it down. Throwing it up is number 25, Caitlin Hill, no good. But there will be a
Beaver pressure on 25, Caitlin Hill.
And it will be a foul against Caitlin Hill as she went up for it, so the ball goes back to Greater Allegheny. And that will send Gibson back to the line.
42, Tanisha Gibson at the line for a 1-and-1.
And she'll shoot a 1-and-1. Gibson's first is good. She'll get another one. 28-23. Penn State Greater Allegheny leading Penn State Beaver. Second attempt is no good. Menier moves it up to Adams along the near side. On the near wing, moves it back to the other side. This is Menier going up for the layup, no good. Put back, no good by Penn State Beaver as Fulton brings it back the other way on the far end. Being covered very well, gets it outside. Bendick with it. Fulton, long three from the near side, good! 31-23, in favor of Penn State Greater Allegheny.
You got to take that shot. She did, wide open for three and able to bring it home.
Menier with it up top, looking down low. Flowers throws it up one-hander, no good. Rebound picked up by Penn State Beaver, almost taken away by Fulton. And we'll have another possession, jump ball, and it goes to Penn State Beaver.
Fulton has been all over the court, a spitfire for Penn State Greater Allegheny, not only hitting three-point shots, but fighting for the basketball, getting a scrum. Just a great job there by a leader of this Penn State GA team to emerge herself late in the first half of the Final Four game.
Lane comes in for Gibson as Penn State Beaver will inbound after the jump ball, right next to the Greater Allegheny bench. Menier down low, trying to put it up as Hill. She won't have any luck there. Rebound. Adams with a long three, bounces off the rim, off the glass, and came down. And the ball goes back to Beaver as it went off the body of Nikayla Lane, apparently. With 6:19 left here in the first half. Menier back up top. Long. That's going to be a long two, actually, by number 15, Natalie Gamble, 31-25.
Yeah, these players really flirting with that three-point line. We've had a few shots that became twos that really they thought were threes when they were shooting them.
Near side, Bendick, no good for Greater Allegheny. Carswell does get the rebound as Bendick and Fulton gets it, and she'll be called for a travel. Second time she's walked today. Ball goes back to Penn State Beaver.
Third turnover, too, for the team on travels. You just got to know where your feet are and have the presence of mind to maintain possession. That's just a horrible turnover to have.
Adams, the sophomore guard, working it, trying to move it down low, throws it up underhand and in. Fancy there, 31-27. Beaver's deficit is 4 right now.
The bigger player being Fancy, too. She's going against two smaller players and able to use kind of the up and in alley-oop there for the basket.
Fulton down low. That's Lane, able to roll it in. And we have another timeout by Penn State Greater Allegheny. And after the timeout, Gibson will come back in for Greater Allegheny. So the score right now with 5:23 left in the first half, it's Greater Allegheny leading 33-27. And of course, you can only hear exclusive coverage of the PSUAC tournament right here on the Champ Sports Network. And of course, we've let you know before it was a close one, as Penn State Brandywine will be the team that either Greater Allegheny or Beaver will face on Tuesday night at 6 o'clock at the Bryce Jordan Center. So they get to go up to Happy Valley, play on the big court. You know, this is a nice gymnasium, but
it is.
Once you step into the Bryce Jordan Center, that's a big experience right there.
Have you been there? I've been there a few times. It is absolutely a fabulous facility for D1 college. You get those bright lights shining down on you, and one of these teams will be able to be happy, for the cliche, and become a champion when that's all over.
86-84 was the final of that game between Brandywine and South Fayette. And, of course, we have a 6-point lead for Greater Allegheny as Penn State Beaver controls it now. Adams Throws it up from the far side. Good.
Basket by 22.
33-29. Deficit is 4 again. Fulton with it up top. Working along the right wing. Looking. Works it back to the other end. Down low. Gibson tries to go up. Ball's knocked out of her hands. And possession goes back to Greater Allegheny as Gamble touched it last. And Fulton will inbound from underneath the basket. Fulton back up top. Bendick back to Fulton. Long three, good. Wanted to make sure we got the signal from the official that time.
You never can be too sure with the way this game's gone in that three-point line, but another huge clutch three-point shot by Fulton for Penn State Greater Allegheny.
36-29, deficit is 7 again for Beaver. Brooks along the near side. Manier, her long three from the near side, no good. And Penn State Greater Allegheny corrals it in as Fulton works it back on the far end. Working along the left wing, leaves it. This is number 23, Lane driving in, can't put it in. Rebound picked up by Flowers of Penn State Beaver, moves it back the other way. Here's Brooks with it now, driving in from the left wing. Back up top, that'll be Adams. Driving it down low as Hill tries to throw it in. Rebound, tried to get it, was Brooks, unable to.
Incredible rebounding, though, by Penn State Beaver to even have the basketball. You're really using the lankiness in the arms. Penn State G eventually gets the stop. But Penn State Beaver needed to go to the hoop as they did, and they need some type of points here. No longer chucking it for three. They're rushing shots, and that's why they've got down by as many as they are again.
Gamble unable to control it for Penn State Beaver, so Greater Allegheny brought it back the other way. Working along the near wing is Fulton. Fulton as they work it around the perimeter. Bendick over to number 23 Lane. Can't put it in the long two. And the ball goes out of bounds, and it will stay with Greater Allegheny. Traisha Carswell will come back in for Nikayla Lane, excuse me. 3:26 left here in the first half. 7-point lead for Greater Allegheny as they inbound it. Fulton gets it back from Floyd.
Unconventional inbound there, basically just inbounding to the air, hoping someone will track it down.
Long three by Fulton, denied on the block by Manier. Here she comes back the other way, driving down low, and she's fouled by Fulton.
That's a good foul, though. That's a good, tough, intimidating foul when you have momentum. If you were trailing, I maybe wouldn't like the foul as much, but that is a one-on-one, manu-a-manu foul, and now you get the pressure on the shooter to make these free throws.
Fulton, her second personal, 17 foul for Greater Allegheny as Brittany Manier steps up to the line. The sophomore guard out of Beaver Falls misses her first one. 36-29, the score remains.
And the better free throw shooting team has not been the better free throw shooting team in this game for Penn State Beaver. They've missed critical free throws so far.
Minier's second shot is good, 36-30 in favor of Greater Allegheny. If you're wondering, both of these teams are Penn State satellite campuses if you just tuned in here on the Champ Sports Network. They work it around the perimeter. Carswell to Fulton, driving down low through 2-3 Penn State Beaver players. Can't put it in, put back, unable to be put up by Gibson. And the ball, see which team will have it. It'll be Penn State Greater Allegheny who will inbound. It'll be Fulton underneath the basket on the baseline. Fulton looking, trying to find a teammate. Bounce pass, tries to get it into Floyd. Goes out of bounds again. And Fulton will inbound again for Greater Allegheny.
It's really now the point in this game where one team getting the driver's seat. If Penn State GA gets a few more stops and a few more points, they really can go into halftime with their heads held up high.
Inbounded is Fulton, back up top at the point. She works toward the near end, right next to the Beaver bench. Looking to move it down low, intercepted on the play by Flowers, and Penn State Beaver moves it back the other way, Manier. Pass forecourt, driving down low, loses it on the way. And it looked like number 22, Shelby Bendick, could have had a possession.
You would think that a point guard being the shooter on an offense is usually risky, and in the NBA, in the pro ranks, very rarely does a point guard being the shooter win an NBA championship, only a couple times in history. But for Penn State GA, it's been working. They've been able to use the point guard as the shooter. She passes a few and then gets it back, and they still use her as the key cog to the offense. You would think the Penn State Beaver would have figured this out and give her some double coverage and then eliminate that game plan, but it's not happened yet.
Menier gets called for the foul as Bendick will shoot two. Or, excuse me, a 1-and-1. She makes the first attempt. 37-30, 2:31 left here in the first half with her team up by 7. Bendick's second attempt, off the rim, no good. Rebound picked up by Flowers as Penn State Beaver moves it back the other way. Menier up top. Looking to drive it down low as Flowers back up toward the right wing. Moving in down low is Adams as she is fouled on the way in. We'll see who it's on. Greater Allegheny's number 42, Tanisha Gibson. That'll be her first personal.
Gibson,
or her second, excuse me.
Despite being a bigger player and playing so rough, she's been able to stay out of foul trouble.
Adams' first attempt is good.
That's 22, Maria Adams.
37-31. Adams out of Phelps High School in Washington, D.C. Her second attempt is good. 37-32.
Not a local players, mostly local players for these two teams, but you'll see later with the men, there's players from all over the globe, let alone the country.
Here's Fulton, bounce pass for Bendick. Long two on the near wing, and it's good. 39-32 in favor of Greater Allegheny.
More back-breaking outside shots that Penn State Beaver was not allowing in the beginning of this game that really late in the first half Penn State GA has been able to hit.
Menier down low to Flowers, back up to Menier. No good on the shot. Rebound underneath. That's Gamble fighting for it with Bendick. And it's going to be a possession jump ball. Ball goes back to Greater Allegheny.
Penn State GA's coach is screaming
Tim Moore
for
thought
a foul.
Tim Moore should have thought it was thinking it should have been a foul. We're under 2 minutes, 1:38 left here in the first half. Greater Allegheny leading Penn State Beaver 39-32. Bendick on the far end near the baseline, back up top. As Carswell moves it around the perimeter, back to Fulton, who's back up top at the point. Over to the far end, Bendick, long two, no good. Rebound picked up by Gibson, stays in bounds, good feet work. Fulton, long three, off the backboard, no good. Rebound by Bendick. She's fouled as she goes up. Or no, it goes out of bounds, excuse me, off the hands of a Beaver player. So Greater Allegheny will inbound.
Morgan Kurtz re-enters the game for Penn State Beaver as she has been the driving force to their offensive game and even sometimes on the defensive end. Now in the final minute in 13, she is going to be a major part of this team can come back and tie it before halftime.
Brooks comes in for Gamble. Another substitution for Penn State Beaver. We'll have another one coming up as Mason DePitcher will come back in. Long three by Fulton, no good. Rebound. She picks it up. Tries to underhand it in to Gibson. Turnover. Penn State Beaver back the other way on a fast break. Here's Brooks. Gets around. Fulton throws it up. No good.
And resting players like Kurtz. Go ahead.
And we will have a foul on number 22, Kalia Adams. That'll be your second personal. And the ninth.
Resting players like Kurtz was intentional, though. It gives her fresh legs now in the minute and a half here. She wasn't necessarily in foul trouble, but they need her now, and they've stayed close enough in this game that now when it even matters the most, she can come in there and really have an impact. Not, though, if your team's going to be fouling this prevalently. This is not the end of the game. They don't need to be fouling like this the final minute of a half.
Bendick's first attempt on the 1-and-1 is no good. Flowers gets the rebound. Trying to go for the fast break. Intercepted by Fulton. She brings it back the other way for Greater Allegheny. Right at center court. Down low. Gibson off the glass. Off the rim. No good. Oh, a good chance there for Greater Allegheny. Couldn't put it in. Flowers gets the rebound. DePetro working it now. Adams on the right wing. Down low. Throwing it up is Brooks, and she gets it off the glass and in for two. 39-34. 5-point lead for Greater Allegheny. Final 30 seconds of the first half.
That was the exact usage of the glass that Gibson should have done on the miss underneath the hoop last possession for Penn State GA. Really a gut-wrenching miss there.
3-second difference between the shot clock and game clock as Fulton controlling it for Greater Allegheny along the right wing. Over to Carswell. No good on the three. And back the other way comes to Petro. Now there's no more shot clock. Final 10 seconds. Beaver going up to Petro, and she...
Is that a charge or...
And she'll be fouled by number 22, Shelby Bendick. I thought that too, maybe an offensive foul, but no, DePetro's going to go to the line.
Well, see, the reason why I thought it was an offensive foul, the defender had their feet set, which is usually how you get the charge, and also the elbow was used. That is a textbook offensive charge to me.
DePetro out of Cornell makes the first one, 39-35.
As I say that, the referee looks back at me and gives me the little eyebrow. He's not appreciating my criticism here on the broadcast.
Hill coming in for Adams. 7.1 remaining on the game clock. Second attempt by DePetro is good. Now one more chance for Greater Allegheny. Inbounded by Carswell to Fulton. 5, 4, 3. Past midcourt. Jumper for a long three. Off the backboard. Rolls out no good. And the light comes on. And that's the end of the first half with the score here in the Penn State University Athletic Conference Final Four in this championship. The Penn State Greater Allegheny Nittany Lions leading the Penn State Beaver Nittany Lions by a score of 39-36. Mike, before we go to the half, what stood out for you for both teams here in the first half?
It was a relatively even game. The fouls a little bit too tightly called of a game for me, but a very even game. Penn State GA able to do whatever they wanted early, but then allowed Penn State Beaver to come back off of allowing outside shots, what they did not do early in the game, and the rebound even, which was not the case early in the game. Penn State GA is going to go in the locker room feeling like they let some points on the floor there, and a controversial no charge call there at the end that I did think was initiating contact by the Penn State Beaver player. So we go in the locker room, and it kind of really is still very much up in the air for the championship.
The winner gets Penn State Brandywine on Tuesday night at 6 o'clock, and of course you can hear that exclusively here on the Champ Sports Network. But we will step aside. When we come back, we'll have stats for you of the first half with the score here from Penn State Greater Allegheny at Wonderlay Gym. Greater Allegheny leading 39-36 over Penn State Beaver. We'll be back in a couple of minutes here on the Champ Sports Network.
for the day and I feel satisfied. To me, this is the only fresh, wholesome option out there because the competitors have something that's processed that they're warming up in the microwave. What I love about the breakfast power sandwich are the wonderful ingredients. It's the all-natural egg, the Vermont white cheddar, and smoked ham on freshly baked whole grain bread. Something under 350 calories, and that's awesome. Panera Bread, make today better.
Looking for promotional products? JR Advertising has been building relationships and creating quality solutions for customers for over 30 years. We're excited to devise solutions to your marketing, promotion, and recognition challenges. Whether you're looking for a specific item or just browsing for ideas, our site is your one-stop shopping source. Visit us online at jradspec.com for more information. That's jradspec.com. JR Advertising. We don't compete, we create.
Welcome back to Penn State Greater Allegheny at the Wonderlake Gym here in McKeesport, Pennsylvania. Sean Gallagher, Mike Asti, we're at halftime. Give you some stats here. As the score is Penn State Greater Allegheny 39, Penn State Beaver 36. Both of these teams competing to play in the women's final at Bryce Jordan Center up in Happy Valley on Tuesday night. And, of course, here at the Champ Sports Network, we will be bringing you exclusive coverage of that game and the men's game at 8 p.m. following. So looking at some early first half stats, two things that can really stand out here. Cassandra Flowers of Penn State Beaver, Taylor Fulton, and Shelby Bendick of Penn State Greater Allegheny. They have played all 20 minutes of this game. And, of course, Taylor Fulton, she is leading in points right now with 9. And the point leader right now for the Penn State Beaver Nittany Lions is Mason DePetro. And, of course, she's played 11 minutes. She has, I'm missing someone. Kalia Adams is your points leader right now with Penn State Beaver. She's played 14 minutes, 3 of 4 from the field, 1 of 2 from three-point range, and she is a perfect 2 for 2 at the free throw line.
And not only her, though, a player that really stood out to me that was the MVP for me in Penn State Beaver, even though she had to sit out a little bit late in the game, but it was more of a preservation rest, was Morgan Kurtz. 7 points, 2 rebounds, really able to get her team over the hump in crucial junctures in that first half, which is the reason why it's only a 3-point difference. And when she was out of the game, Penn State Beaver was not able to do as much on offense. The offense kind of moved from her. But this was a game that Penn State GA overall outplayed Penn State Beaver in that first half and should probably be up by more than just one possession, by more than just one basket, and by more than just 3 points. They almost got to be demoralized on that late surge by mentioning Thon because it gives so much money to charity. And really, not only that, but you got to be impressed with people that are able to dance for that many hours in a row and be able to have that energy and stamina. So there's nothing wrong with Thon, and Thon is something that is right with Penn State University and college athletics and the institutions in this country, and something that can be really looked upon as a positive for Penn State University when they've had some unfortunate negatives in the last few years.
Yeah, and since 1977, Thon has raised more than $101 million for the Four Diamonds Fund at Penn State Hershey's Children's Hospital.
There you go. There you go. Sean Gallagher coming in with the stats.
Yeah, and of course, what I love about it, too, with Thon is that it's inspired other universities, campuses to have what are called mini-thons. Now, I know Shippensburg began it a year or two ago.
Oh, did they?
Did West Virginia ever have anything like that?
No,
Do they do anything currently like that? Yeah, it just
you're gonna criticize?
No. I just think I think sometimes with the Pennsylvania schools is doing, and they go, that's really cool what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know, it's a great way to do philanthropy through our campus. So there's a lot of mini-thons that happen around the country that are inspired by the thon that happens at Penn State.
To my knowledge, West Virginia University never had anything, either a thon or a mini-thon. I don't know if Pitt did. I don't know if the University of Pittsburgh ever had a thon or a mini-thon. That is another major school, unlike Shippensburg, that maybe could have had something copying off of Penn State. I don't even know about any other schools in Pennsylvania besides Shippensburg now that you told me that, whether or not they had a thon. But I've heard of other thons and mini-thons across the country by some other schools. And if they're not called thon, and if it's not a dance, schools do things for charity and do events for charity all through the season and all through the year. West Virginia does do things through the year for charity, and anything for charity from a major institution like that is just obviously wonderful. And Thon for Penn State is one of the most nationally recognized charitable events. So give them the dap.
And, of course, if you're not really sure what goes on at Thon, as Mike mentioned, there is dancing. They encourage over 700 students to dance for 46 straight hours, all for the kids.
Could you do that if you went to Penn State? Could you have got
I don't know.
Done?
I would need to sleep for like 3 days after that.
Yeah, or I need
That'd
some water. I would need my personal water sales.
I've done like Relay for Life, the 12-hour marathon. But
well, if you can do that, you can do Thon.
Yeah, but I'm a wreck after Relay for Life.
Okay,
I stay up the whole night.
I'm sure most of the Penn State students and the most Thon competitors are wrecked afterwards.
Hey, I applaud those students, and of course, I know people who went to Penn State, and they're always excited when this time comes up. Even now, when they're alumni, everybody
go back,
comes in for Thon. But speaking of Penn State, we're ready to get this one going with Penn State Greater Allegheny leading Penn State Beaver 39-36. Winner goes to the Bryce Jordan Center, where they're having Thon right now to play on Tuesday night.
They're dancing as we speak.
They are dancing as we begin the second half. Penn State Beaver will inbound. And, of course, it's DePetro working along the right wing. This is Hill. Hill leaves it for Kurtz, moving it down low to Flowers. Flowers working through a double team, puts it in. 39-38, we got a one-point game.
Kurtz already able to get her presence involved in this game here early. She was kind of having to sit out due to some other issues and wanting to preserve her late in that first half, and she wants to be the difference, win or lose, for her squad.
Fulton, the points leader, has it along the left wing. Greater Allegheny wearing white, moving right to left from our direction on your computer screens if you're listening to us. Thank you for listening here on the Champ Sports Network. And we have a travel called on Kurtz, a Penn State Beaver. And according to our notes, that should be Kurtz's second, just a travel.
So
she does have one personal.
Kurtz involves herself with the basket and then also involves herself with the turnover. She gets involved in the first minute here of the second half.
I have so many notes in front of me. Fulton on the near side, driving in down low, leaves it for Bendick, back to Fulton, long three on the right wing for two, no good. Long two, rebound underneath. And Floyd can't put it in as Penn State Beaver brings it back the other way. Here comes DePetro all alone, driving in one-hander. Can't put it in, just hits the bottom of that rim. And it goes out of bounds. Ball goes back to Penn State Greater Allegheny.
A lot of speed here in this second half. It really, this first minute or so of this second half, a lot of speed from Penn State Beaver. They have that sense of urgency, even though there's an eternity remaining in this game.
Fulton out of West Mifflin High School working it. Along the far end. Turnover as that was Lane trying to move it in. Back the other way. DePetro with it. Driving down low past Bendick and a offensive foul. called on DePetro.
There was no offensive foul on the no charge call at the end of the first half, and somehow that's an offensive foul. I don't know.
That's her first personal, DePetro, and the team's first of this second half.
That's going through traffic. That's playing physical basketball. That's what we've seen the entire first half, and that's not always been called.
Fulton with it for Greater Allegheny. Bendick, long three from the near, long two from the near side, 41-38.
Outside shots of Penn State GA. Once they put that into their game, they've been even more difficult to defend.
On the far end, Flowers leaves it for Gamble. She throws it up on the glass. She's fouled.
Is that a makeup call? That's almost a makeup call now from the previous turnover on the controversial call on the offense. So now Penn State Beaver able to benefit from the referees.
Now, would you say that with the officials right next to our table?
I've said it already with the officials right next to the table. I've already had the officials, I think, are not going next to the table because they're not fans of Mike Asti. They've been giving me some dirty looks throughout the broadcast here, but I got to tell it like it is.
Lane's first personal for Greater Allegheny. Gamble at the line. She misses her first one. She'll step up and shoot another with her team trailing 41-38.
Penn State Beaver got to make these free throws. They've been missing too many free throws in this game, and they miss another one there.
Gamble's second attempt, no good. Ball stays with Beaver as it goes off of number 52, Aquila Youngblood. So the possession will stay with Penn State Beaver. Inbounding from underneath the basket, moves it up back top of the point. DePetro, turnaround, jumper for two, off the rim, no good. Rebound picked up by Greater Allegheny as they move it back the other way. That was Floyd as she leaves it now for Lane. Lane back to Fulton up top, over toward the far side. That is Lane. Bendick back up top to Fulton. Fulton being covered by Hill. Up at the top. Long two by Bendick is good.
Another outside shot, almost another three-point shot for Penn State Greater Allegheny. They're impossible to defend from beyond the arc.
5-point lead for Greater Allegheny of Penn State. Almost knocked out of the hand by Lane as she will be called for a foul as she tried to knock the ball out of Kurtz's hands. That'll be her second personal, the team's second of this second half. Substitution, Carswell will be coming in for Lane, and Adams will come in for, we'll get you a number here as we resume play. Adams, who just checked in for Penn State Beaver. Kurtz working back up top, down low now. Flowers throws it up, no good. She is going to be fouled.
And that's another kind of cheap foul, but does put Penn State Beaver back to the free. Got to make these if they miss the other two. They really got to make these free throws. You're already seeing frustration on their face and a little bit of an emotional diminishing for Penn State Beaver based on those outside shots just being hit after shot after hitting a shot by Penn State Greater Allegheny here in the first few minutes of the second half.
Youngblood called for her third personal, 13 foul, as the first shot by Flowers is good, 43-39. Second attempt is good, 43-40. Fulton back the other way. Greater Allegheny moving right to left. Carswell to Bendick over on the near side baseline. Works it back up toward the left wing. Fulton driving down low. Tries to leave it for Youngblood. Jump ball again. And possession will go to Greater Allegheny. So Fulton will inbound from underneath the basket. Or they'll actually move her to the right of the hoop on the baseline. Almost 3 minutes in, second half. Winner goes to the Bryce Jordan Center to take on Penn State Brandywine. Bendick working on the far end. Inside, back up top. Fulton gets it on the right wing. Driving down low. Leaves an underhanded pass. Turnover as Flowers gets it. And back comes Kurtz. Kurtz with Adams coming with her on a 2-on-2. She throws it up and she's fouled. She'll go to the line.
Shocking the world there, another foul.
And the guilty party will be number 22, Shelby Bendick. That'll be her second personal.
Penn State GA knows now what the referees are doing. It's almost hard to do anything differently, though, for them and be any less physical there underneath the hoop where you're almost giving the points away. But Penn State Beaver also knows, hey, I go through traffic, I'm going to draw the foul.
Adams' first attempt is no good. Her team's still trailing by 3.
Their karma, though, is biting them. They're getting none of these free throws after all these attempts here in the second half.
Already 14 fouls for Greater Allegheny as she misses the second one. 43-40, the score remains.
Penn State Beaver just not taking advantage. They'd have this game tied if not be leading if they would hit some of these free throws.
Fulton on the near side. Up toward the left wing. Fulton with Adams and Menard on her. Bendick back to Fulton on the near wing. Long two by Carswell is good. And it's 45-40 Greater Allegheny.
More outside shots is a broken record. Outside shot after outside shot, really just putting those daggers in the Penn State Beaver coffin.
Kurtz leaves it for Gamble, driving down the lane, one-hander, no good. Rebound on the putback, and that is Flowers.
And at least Penn State Beaver's getting points, though. They're going to the hoop and getting points. They're not hurrying themselves. They're not freaking out, even with all the outside shots that Penn State GA has been hitting.
Flowers putback makes it 45-42. Under 16 minutes left in the game. Bendick works around the perimeter. Carswell, long two, no good. Rebound picked up by Penn State Beavers. Kurtz back the other way. Kurtz works through Fulton, through Bendick. Can't put it up, off the rim, no good. And the ball last goes off of Beaver, and Greater Allegheny will get it as Gibson comes back in for Greater Allegheny, and Youngblood will come out.
You can tell Penn State Beaver wants to make this a track meet game. They want to go fast. They want to have the speed on and get to the hoop. That's what Kurtz was trying to do with the layup. She just missed. That's one of those she'll make 9 out of 10 times.
Youngblood with 3 personals. Gibson with 2 for Greater Allegheny. Fulton driving down low is Floyd. She can't control it. Taken away by Beaver. They finally get a handle on it. It's Adams. Adams driving down the lane. May have walked, but underhanded, no good. Put back by Flowers, and she's fouled. And number 22, Shelby Bendick, will pick up another personal. Second of the half, her third personal. Actually make that 4 for Shelby Bendick, so she's going to be in a little foul trouble, and you might see a sub upcoming for her in number 23, Nikayla Lane.
And that could become a factor, even if missing the free throws. At least you're getting Penn State GA into foul trouble and forcing them to do more work with their bench. But finally hitting a free throw there, you just got to be able to hit the shots if you get to the charity stripe when you're trailing for Penn State Beaver.
Lane in for Bendick. 4 personal fouls. As Flowers makes her first attempt, 45-43, still in favor of Greater Allegheny. The second attempt is good. Penn State Beaver makes it a 1-point game.
I just noticed the balloons here on the Penn State GA bench with all these little sayings, these motivational sayings, saying do the work, don't have any regrets, and that's what you're going to have on the floor here in the final minutes of the second half.
Number 32, Floyd, near side 3, no good. Rebound picked up by Kurtz of Beaver. Back they come the other way, moving left to right. Off the hands of Carswell. Adams tries to get it, but it goes off of Adams' hand.
You know, just watching Kurtz for Penn State Beaver, wearing her heart in her sleeve, such an emotional player. You can tell by her face. She's just given that, here we go again. Oh, my God, another turnover after we have some momentum. And that's what it's been this whole game for Penn State Beaver. They think they're back in this game. They're only trailing 1 now. They're able to come back in the second half a little bit, but they never can seize the day and get an advantage or build on that lead if they do because of one of their own mistakes, because of a turnover, because of a missed shot, or because of missed free throws. Not even necessarily what Penn State GA is doing, but Penn State Beaver feels like it's almost not in the cards for them here today.
Lou Zadecki of Greater Allegheny took a timeout, 30-second timeout here. 14:57 left here between Penn State, Greater Allegheny, and Penn State Beaver. Sean Gallagher, Mike Asti with you from Wonderlay Gymnasium here in McKeesport, Pennsylvania. 24 satellite campuses for Penn State, and 6 made this tournament, and we are in the Final Four right now. And the winner of this one will take on Penn State Brandywine, who won 86-84 over Penn State South Fayette earlier this afternoon, just as we were about to tip off here in McKeesport.
And now maybe they can listen. Hopefully one of those teams or the winning team was listening to this game, and now they can say, hey, we can scout this game by listening to Mike and Sean on the Chance Sports Network. We're providing them the outlet to scout. This is a legal outlet to scout.
We have exclusive coverage for you of the PSUAC Championship right here on the Champ Sports Network Tuesday night, beginning at 6 o'clock with the women's game and 8 p.m. with the men's game, all from the Bryce Jordan Center in Happy Valley.
And say whatever you want about the level of basketball, a championship is a championship, and these teams want a championship.
Greater Allegheny with the Carswell. Leaves it for Lane. Carswell can't put it up for the 3, no good. Adams brings it back for Penn State Beaver, trying to throw it up. No foul called as she gets it back, and a timeout taken by Adams, and they will give it to her.
And
So
Tim
Penn
Moore,
State Beaver will take a timeout.
Tim Moore calling that timeout because he is again barking at the referees. He's starting to be that ticking time bomb volcano ready to erupt. There's been a few calls he did not appreciate, and I kind of was agreeing with him on the controversial no charge call at the end of the first half, and then some even calls here in the second half. Granted, his team got to the free throw line so much, they can only blame themselves for missing those shots. But he now needs to be careful he doesn't get teed up and really make this game from still anybody's game to being over based on his own personality.
Penn State Greater Allegheny this year 15-9 overall, 12-3 inside the PSUAC. Penn State Beaver 16-10, 13-3 in the conference. And of course, with the better record, Greater Allegheny is hosting this game this afternoon on what is a mild, sunny day outside of the gymnasium. We can see through these windows.
And that tells you a one-game better record, too. One swing game you think is not important to you in the regular season has allowed this to be a host game for Penn State.
Meneard inbounds to Adams for the long two on the far end. 46-45, Beaver with the lead.
First outside shot for Penn State Beaver in a while, but now their first lead in a while.
There's a long three attempt, and it's good by Penn State Greater Allegheny's number 32, Christina Floyd out of Philadelphia.
All those threes are so clutch. They're coming at such the perfect times for Penn State GA in this game.
Meneard working on the left wing. Back up top, it's Adams. Substitution upcoming for Penn State Beaver at the next whistle. Kurtz with it up top of the point. Works on the near side. Adams with her own three attempt. Off the glass, no good. Ball bounces out, and Floyd lets it go. Back to Greater Allegheny. Substitution in. That's Asia Borders back in the game as Gamble will take a seat, and Gibson will come out, and Youngblood is back in for Greater Allegheny.
And you see Kurtz for Penn State Beaver still trying to console her team. Hey, we had the lead. It was only for a nanosecond. We lost it, but look what we did. We got the lead back. Stay in this.
Fulton trying to move it down low. Blocked by Flowers, and her teammate, who just came in the game, Borders, able to get it, and they settle it down as Meneard moves it back over toward the offensive end for Penn State Beaver. Adams goes cross court. Kurtz drives inside, puts it in. Nice work on the one-hander, 48 all.
And that's the leader of this team. Hey, I'm going to do this. I am going to be there. I'm going to be determined, and you cannot deny me getting baskets even through traffic.
Fulton controlling it on the far end. Long two, no good by number 23, Lane. Rebound put in by Youngblood.
And there's Youngblood, only the one rebound in the first half, but gets a key rebound here in the second half. Second chance basket using her size on the miss, waiting in the wings. That's how you set things up on a possession for Penn State GA.
And Carswell went for the pick at center court for Greater Allegheny. It goes out of bounds, and it looks like it'll be Lane coming in, limping a little bit as Gibson will come in for her.
And she was injured in that first half, so her limping is something to be concerned about for Penn State GA and their training staff. But Penn State GA with a pep in their step ever since they lost the lead to Penn State Beaver just minutes ago.
Meneard drives in. Defensive foul called on Fulton.
And Fulton, a player who's played a relatively clean game. Such an impact player from that first half, really, with all those steals and even outside shots, and just a rare to see her foul.
Meneard inbounds from the near side toward her own bench. Leaves it for Adams, who drives down the lane past Gibson, is standing there. And the rebound comes down, and it will be a foul called on Beaver. It'll be against Flowers. That'll be her first personal today. And only the second team foul for Penn State Beaver in the second half. 12:34 left here in the game. Offensive end now for Greater Allegheny. It's Floyd for Carswell. Leaves it for Fulton, who's working along the right wing, back up top. Looking to move it down low, under the basket. That is Floyd. Off the window, and it is 52-48 in favor of Greater Allegheny.
Once again, you start outside, you work for the outside shot, they defend it, then you work inside.
Kurtz working in from the near end, loses it, teammate gets it back to Kurtz, no good, rebound, Gibson up for it for Greater Allegheny, goes off the body of Gibson last. Possession will stay with Penn State Beaver as they'll inbound from the baseline.
Penn State GA has now become on offense this team that's still working outside, but it's allowed them to get the inside lane because they've been so successful with those outside shots earlier.
Meneard inbounds it up top to Adams, who gives it back to Meneard, who is going to take a long three from the left wing. No good. As Fulton gets the rebound for Greater Allegheny, moving along the near side, down low, leaving it bank off the glass. Number 32, Christina Floyd. 54-48.
Some fist pumping there from the coaching staff, all the coaching staff for Penn State Greater Allegheny, really invigorating this team off that basket.
Kurtz driving down low, and she is fouled, and number 42, Tanisha Gibson, will be the guilty party. Her third personal today, 7th team foul for Greater Allegheny. That's kind of getting them in trouble. That's the reason why this game is getting closer.
Yeah, they've just been fouling so much, and really, you've got to adapt yourself, even if maybe you don't think some of those should be fouls. You just got to not foul as often as they've been, but Penn State Beaver's been missing foul shots, so hey, it's not been as big of a deal.
Gamble and Hill back in the game. Mineard will come out.
What Penn State Greater Allegheny has done is they kept Kurtz off the free throw line before now. She's the best shooter on the team.
Second attempt is good, 54-49, 1 for 2 from the line on that trip. Fulton up top of the point, directing traffic, works it over to the far end of Floyd. Has Carswell with them. A 2 from the free throw line, no good by Youngblood. Back the other way comes Penn State Beaver. Gamble got the rebound. Bounce pass, leads it for Adams. And she almost has a chance to roll it in. It comes out. And there will be a foul on number 32 of Greater Allegheny. That is Christina Floyd. That'll be her second personal and the 8th team foul for Greater Allegheny.
And we keep beating the drum, but more free throws for Penn State Beaver, just more and more free throws. They're really trying to allow them back in this game at Penn State GA.
1-1, no good. Rebound picked up by Kurtz of Beaver, so they walk away with the 2 points anyway, 54-51.
They count all the same, and that's more of the hustle here late in the contest for a championship.
Fulton leaves it, left wing, Floyd off the back of the board, no good. Rebound, it's on the ground, another jump ball, and possession goes with Beaver.
Penn State Beaver's been able to steal some momentum off of all the fouls, even if they're missing free throws. By able to get that rebound and by able to get that basket, they're still stealing momentum now off a stop defensively here. The final 10:56 now of this game.
10:53 remaining here in the game. Greater Allegheny leading by 3. Here comes Kurtz on a fast break. Down low through a double team. Can't put it in off the side of the rim. And the ball will go back to Greater Allegheny.
And no foul call there. Similar play, but no foul call there. Kurtz going through 2 defenders. You would have also thought she would have got that layup to be converted, but missed some kind of easy layups for her the last few minutes, too.
Fulton works at forecourt for Greater Allegheny. Floyd took a step too many.
And we've seen that all game. All those turnovers off of traveling for Penn State GA. They've left points on the floor in the first half and now leave points and a possession on the floor here in the second.
Ball goes back to Beaver as Flowers inbounds it for her team. There is Hill leaving it for Adams. Adams working back outside toward the near outside, working it down low now. Flowers turns around, shoots. The two-hander's no good. Rebound picked up defensively by Floyd of Greater Allegheny. Floyd brings it back quickly, looking down low for Youngblood. She had an opportunity, just too hard, and it's going to go back to Penn State Beaver. Right under the basket was Youngblood.
Yeah, Youngblood almost overzealous, but where she needs to be, she's always finding the hoop and getting to where she needs to be, and her sweet spot there underneath the rim. Her team needed to almost hustle more to provide her some assists for maybe a rebound.
Hill leaves it for Kurtz, working back from the far side. Down low, it's Flowers. On the near side toward the baseline, hit Adams! Makes the 3, and we're tied at 54 under 10 minutes left.
And Penn State GA never expected that. Penn State Beaver working inside the entire time through the paint. They finally take an outside shot. Penn State GA did not even defend it, and we see 3 points for Penn State Beaver now tied.
Here's Floyd, a long 3 from the near side. It's good! They shoot a 3, then Greater Allegheny gets a 3. 57-54, and we get a timeout from Greater Allegheny. And it's going to be a full timeout, 60-second timeout. 9:42 left. The score, Greater Allegheny 57 and Beaver 54 in this matchup for these two Penn State satellite campuses.
And what is the age-old adage? One great shot deserves another, and that is the example. One great shot deserved another there for Penn State GA, what they've done all game. Every time Penn State Beaver gets momentum off of a three-point shot or off some defensive stop, Penn State Beaver answers with their own three-point shot or then their own defensive stop. and that is why they've still been able to feel like they're going to win this game. It has that vibe. They just keep on answering the momentum from Penn State Beaver. And, Sean, we got ourselves an instant classic here for a Final Four en route to a championship.
Wonder Lake Gymnasium is where we are here on the Champ Sports Network. Sean Gallagher, Mike Asti to my left, as we are watching what Mike said will maybe come down to being a great finish. We already saw a great one earlier in South Fayette as Brandywine campus defeated South Fayette 86-84. So that is the team that Penn State, Greater Allegheny or Penn State Beaver will meet at the Bryce Jordan Center on Tuesday night in State College as both teams come back on the court after the full timeout by Greater Allegheny. And a nice turnout here in the gymnasium.
Yeah,
a lot of excitement from the people who showed up. A lot of enthusiasm, I have to say.
Oh yeah, they're screaming, hollering with every single play. And for a satellite campus, this is really impeccable facilities here.
Here comes Hill for Beaver, driving in from the near end. She loses it along the way. And the foul will be on Greater Allegheny, Nikayla Lane. And that will put Hill at the line.
People are going to be annoyed by me on the broadcast, but it's another foul by Penn State GA that gives Penn State Beaver another free throw. And if they were better at the free throw line in this game, they might have a 10-point lead and have this game wrapped up.
They have had their chances. The 1-and-1. She doesn't get the first one, but rebound picked up by her teammate Gamble. Gamble being covered by Fulton, moves it back outside. Left wing three, and Adams get it.
Adams, boom, for three again. She's probably the least expected three-point shooter on Penn State Beaver, and again wide open, not being defended.
57 all as we reach the 9-minute mark here in the second half. Another substitution upcoming for Greater Allegheny. Fulton with it. Thinking about working through the double team. Trying to move it down low to Gibson, taken away by Gamble. Gamble settles it down. Over to Kurtz. Over toward our score table. Kurtz driving down low in the lane. One-hander tries to go through Youngblood. Rebound picked up by Flowers underneath the basket. 59-57 Penn State Beaver.
And Kurtz, a bit smaller than some of her defenders, so once again not enough mustard on it to hit the layup, but the rebound and still 2 points for Penn State Beaver.
Fulton directing traffic for Greater Allegheny on the offensive end. Here's Floyd. Leads it for Lane. Back to Fulton. Long three. Good! 60-59.
And you're going to lose your voice the way this game's going. Another three-point shot by Fulton and Penn State GA. My God.
They're finding their stride from the three-point range here in the second half. Kurtz with it now for Penn State Beaver. The crowd here starting to pick it up a little bit with the noise. Gamble down low with Beaver. Banks it off the glass and in. 61-60. Back and forth the lead goes between these two teams. And a timeout called by Penn State Beaver.
Penn State Beaver, too, you got to give it to them. They just will not quit. They keep on going to the hoop. Maybe they're not going to hit as many threes, even though we've seen some from Adams here in the second half. But they're going to go through the lane. They're going to go through traffic. They're going to either draw the fouls. They've been doing just tons throughout this game. Or they're going to get the shot off and then get the rebound. They're doing what works for them in higher percentage shots, whereas Penn State GA still throwing the dice for the outside three-pointers. Even though they've hit some, their way of scoring is less of a guarantee than, say, for Penn State Beaver, and it's more difficult.
And, of course, both teams making threes the second half. In the first half, 3 of 7 Penn State Beaver was, putting them at 43% in the first half for Penn State Greater Allegheny. 2 for 10, 20%. We don't have the official stats right now, but that percentage has definitely gone up. And throughout the year, Penn State Greater Allegheny has shot 21.1% from three-point range. Penn State Beaver slightly better at 25.5%. So now we're starting to see them take more opportunities from outside of the perimeter.
Yeah, and it was a situation where we weren't really expecting coming into the game for Penn State GA to take so many outside shots, but they've been drilling them. And if Penn State Beaver would lose, they can kind of look to the free throw line. So many opportunities at the charity stripe and missing so many free throws in this game. You learn that and you teach that in your backyard growing up, and you just cannot miss those when we get to the Final Four and it gets this much of a big deal.
Long 2 by Floyd for Penn State Greater Allegheny as Brandywine moved it into her. 62-61. Lead goes back to Penn State Greater Allegheny. Here's Adams. Moves it into Gamble. Gamble Back outside to Petro, turns it over. Fulton comes back the other way on a breakaway. To Petro trailing, throws it up and in off the glass. 64-61. Penn State Greater Allegheny.
Another turnover, and who else? By Fulton. 2 more points for Penn State GA.
Here's Kurtz with it, moving it down low. Flowers off the glass and in. 64-63.
Still, though, Penn State GA just cannot keep momentum off of answer shots and successful possessions on the answer by Penn State Beaver.
Fulton working the point. Floyd, long three from the right wing. Falls short, no good. Gamble lets it fall, and it goes out of bounds as Gibson touches it. Ball goes back to Penn State Beaver.
Penn State GA and their coaching staff, their bench, the team, they all think that, hey, we finally got him where we wanted. We hit a three-point shot. We finally got him where we wanted on the steal. We get a layup. And then all of a sudden, Penn State Beaver answers.
Kurtz on the near end. Working it back up top. Driving down the lane. Gamble rolls it in off the glass. 65-64. Penn State Beaver, the lead, going back and forth between these two teams here in the last part of the second half.
They've really been trading it off. Penn State GA held it all game, and now they're trading it off here and when you don't want to be in the final 7 minutes.
Floyd trying to move it into Gibson, and it goes off the hands of Gibson, or actually will go off the hands of Flowers. So the ball goes back to Penn State Greater Allegheny.
Really has all the makings of whoever has the final possession should win this game.
They'll inbound it from the near baseline, as that'll be Brandy Bendick leaving it for Fulton. Back to Bendick, long two, good from the near end.
Still no defensive answer for those outside shots, and they now are double covering the outside shooters, and still Penn State GA able to hit them.
Penn State Greater Allegheny lead 66-65. 6:22 left here in the second half. Kurtz moving it inside. Can't roll it in on the one-hander. Rebound picked up by her teammate Flowers. Left for Adams. Long two on the near side. 67-66. Penn State Beaver.
How many possessions does Kurtz miss a layup and then have her teammate hit a three-point shot by Adams? Really digging her ditch out there. You got to get those layups, though. She's just not giving it enough gusto on the one-hander.
Fulton, Floyd back to Fulton. Fulton driving in down low. Tries to roll it in on the windmill. No good. Adams gets it off. Here comes DePetro, throws it up, no foul. Rebound picked up defensively by Floyd. Penn State Greater Allegheny coming back. Fulton with the bounce pass into Youngblood off the glass. 68-67 in favor of the ladies in white, the Penn State Greater Allegheny Nittany Lions.
And that was a setup over through at the men's game. That would have been a dunk. So wide open underneath the rim.
Down low is Flowers being triple teamed. Up top for Kurtz. Penn State Beaver with possession. Jumper. And it bounces in and out. No good. Rebound picked up defensively by Fulton, as she will now corral it and bring it back towards center court. 5:11 left here in the game.
They want the ball in Kurtz's hands, but she cannot buy a basket the last few minutes.
Fulton to Floyd. Over toward Bendick for a long two on the far end. No good. Rebound underneath. Youngblood can't get it. Rebound. It'll be a jump ball, and it stays with Greater Allegheny. And Gamble just has a look of, oh, man, I can't believe that. She's going to come out she'll come out, and number 32, Asia Borders, will come back in for Penn State Beaver.
We've seen that look a lot on the faces of Penn State Beaver. Even when they had the lead, it's like, man, something's going to happen to make this game the other way.
Fulton inbounding from the near baseline again. Leaves it. Floyd along the left wing. Back over to Fulton. She works it back up top. Leaves it. Floyd, long three from the near end. Good! 71-67. 4-point lead. We're under 5 minutes.
And a high-scoring game we got here, too. Never really would have thought it'd be this high a scoring. We're on pace for 90-plus for both.
Adams down low, and it is Borders trying to put it in. She's fouled. She'll go to the line. That'll be against number 42, Tanisha Gibson. That's number 4.
Penn State Beaver getting back to the free throw line. It was a few possessions since they've been there.
And she will shoot 2 here, Borders. First attempt is good, 71-68. Her team trails by 3.
And Fulton asking for a clarification from the referee during these free throw shots. Not exactly sure why there was a foul. He's going to explain it to her.
Makes a second attempt. Borders 2 for 2 from the line. Fulton back forecourt for Greater Allegheny. Works it over toward the far end. That's Bendick back to Fulton. Left wing 3. No good. Off the rim. Rebound picked up by Flowers of Penn State Beaver. Maybe a fast break chance here, but she'll hold on to it. And they'll settle down as Kurtz has it now on the right wing. Moving it down low, and that's a nice play by Borders. Bit of a side shot, puts it in, 71 all. Reaching the 4-minute mark here in this game. Winner goes to the Bryce Jordan Center to take on Penn State Brandywine. Up top is Fulton at the point. Adams on her, moves it toward the near side. For Bendick, back to Fulton. Working the perimeter right now, Greater Allegheny. Driving it down low, Fulton loses it. I don't know if that was a bounce pass or not, but Youngblood almost had a chance at it. But Adams gets it for Penn State Beaver back the other way. A chance maybe, and it's picked off, another jump ball. And this one will stay with Beaver, as it was between Floyd and Adams, or Borders, excuse me. A lot of action here in this second half.
Yeah, there really has been, and these two teams realize that game clock's now reading under 4 minutes, and they realize, hey, we got to put the gas pedal on.
Adams will inbound from the far baseline for Beaver. Referee talking to the scoring table.
Some laughing, though, from the referee to the scoring table.
I think they were trying to make sure the possession arrow was correct.
Add some comedy here, even though with all the stress.
And an inbound, and it'll be a foul on Bendick of Greater Allegheny.
Kurtz claps her hands on that foul after so much arguing from Penn State Beaver on the previous fouls. But again, that's kind of a little bit of a foul that could have went either way, as Tim Moore seems to be excited about it.
And that will do it for Bendick this afternoon. She fouls out with her team tied up at 71 with Penn State Beaver. Carswell will come in for her.
And her fouling out, she's one of those players you don't want to lose. She's one of the better defenders that Penn State GA has, and we're still tied up here in the final 3:30. You get Penn State GA's coach to ask for clarification. He does not want to tee himself up and tells the referee, I'm just asking for the clarification, let's not argue. But still, that's one player you don't want to lose.
DePetro misses her first attempt for Beaver. She'll get another shot. Game tied up. Second attempt is good. 72-71. Penn State Beaver leading Penn State Allegheny. So Bendick out of the game. She fouls out for Penn State Greater Allegheny. Mainland was definitely one of those key part of that offense. But here's Fulton now with Greater Allegheny. Floyd, long three. Right wing, no good. Rebound picked up by Borders as Adams will take it, and something fell out of Adams' hair. But here's Kurtz moving it down low, and she rolls it in. She goes through three. Greater Allegheny defenders down the lane. 74-71. Penn State Beaver leading Penn State Greater Allegheny.
Pulls out of her hair, and then he throws it to us. The coach throws it to us on the broadcast booth.
Fulton has two women working on her. Floyd down low. Youngblood can't control it. Ball goes back to Beaver. Momentum slowly going toward Penn State Beaver here in the last minute or two.
And they've not had it for a long period of time throughout this game, but Penn State Beaver, if you're ever going to have it for a few minutes, it's now. They finally are able to control, get a three-point lead, and now play defense.
Kurtz, the Borders, driving inside the lane, and before she had a chance at the shot, they will take a timeout as Tim Moore called for it.
It almost seems like Penn State GA, and you can tell from the faces of the players on the bench. There's some tears in their eyes already. They're looking maybe like they think this could slip away. They've been the better team through most of this game. They really have played better. They outplayed Penn State Beaver through most of that first half and the beginning of the second half. But still, Penn State Beaver was always right there. They always answered momentum. They always answered big three-point shots by Penn State GA with one of their own. Defensive stops with one of their own. And now they got themselves in the final 2 minutes up by three, able to now administer their game plan. And Penn State GA just needs to get this lead back and realize, hey, nothing was assured. They need to make sure they don't freak out here, or this game then will be a victory for Penn State Beaver.
And what is on the line with this game, you may ask, if you're just joining us here on the Champ Sports Network. The winner of this game will face off against Penn State Brandywine at the Bryce Jordan Center at State College Tuesday night to determine the PSUAC championship between these satellite campuses. A bigger stage than what they're used to, and I know that both teams really want this.
Yeah, especially Penn State GA being at home and having played so well through most of this game. It'd just be so gut-wrenching to lose now.
Beaver will inbound. Adams up top. DePetro leaves it for Kurtz. Right wing three, no good off the rim. Rebound picked up by Flowers. Moves it back outside to Adams. Up top of the point now for DePetro on the right wing. Driving in down low is Kurtz trying to move through Gibson. She'll be called for a travel. Ball goes back to Penn State Greater Allegheny.
Yeah, one extra move, and it actually took her away from the hoops, and not only was it a travel, she kind of ruined her own possession, did Kurtz.
2:34 remaining. Penn State Beaver leading 74-71. Penn State Greater Allegheny has led for a majority of this game. But Beaver is stuck strong in this game, and we're going to have a close one down the wire. Down low, Penn State Greater Allegheny's Youngblood able to roll it in off the glass. And a timeout. This will be a full one by Greater Allegheny. It's a 74-73 game with 2:18 remaining here.
And Penn State Beaver knows, and you can see the fire in their eyes in that defensive possession, they know Penn State GA is not going to go away without a fight. They know Penn State GA has been able to have a lead through most of this game, and the reason why they can hit all their shots, either outside or inside, and now work your bigs. So that's what they did there with Youngblood. Work the bigs, get the baskets, get points, tack up points. Don't worry about the outside shots. You've hit them earlier, but they're lower percentage. You got to make sure every trip down the floor when you're trailing in the final 2 minutes of a Final Four game that you get something out of it.
And, of course, we're coming to you from Wonderlay Gymnasium here in McKeesport, Pennsylvania. And we talk about some of these players, Mike. You know, a lot of them are local, but you have people like Shelby Bendick, who unfortunately fouled out of this game. She went to school right across the street.
Yeah,
high school, McKeesport High School.
There are some players that could walk to this game or could drive and hopefully without traffic get here in only a few minutes. A lot of local players, even players down around Moon Township, but still locally in the WPIL and the Pittsburgh greater area. So it's nice to see them go to these sister schools and these feeder schools for the major institution if they can't go to Penn State University or can't go to University of Pittsburgh or WVU or Ohio State around the area. And you look at the opposite for the men's team. They've been eliminated already, but the men's team, so many players around the country and around the globe.
We resume play as Penn State Beaver has possession. It's DePetro with it. Working up top, moves it back over toward the far end. Still working it up top over on the far side now for Adams. Back over to DePetro, looking to move it inside. Back to Adams, driving down the lane, past Gibson, rolls it in. Looks like Gibson just gave up on that play.
Yeah, it really did look like
she has
sat
4
back
personals. Let's remember that too. I forgot.
That's probably why.
76-73 in favor of Penn State Beaver over Penn State Greater Allegheny. We're reaching close to the 90-second mark in this one. On the left wing, it's Fulton with 2 defenders on her. Bounce pass. Carswell going for the long 2, no good. Rebound picked up by Flowers of Penn State Beaver. Under 90 seconds now. With Greater Allegheny trailing by 3. Here's Kurtz working the right wing. Right next to her bench. Looking to move it inside. Jumper. Pass off to Flowers. She can't control it. Goes to the legs of Gibson. And again, we'll have another jump ball. Or excuse me, a timeout called by Penn State Beaver as they gain possession. It'll be a full timeout. 1:10 remaining here in the game.
And 110 is going to give you about 2 or 3, 4 more possessions for both teams, and now it'll be Penn State GA, even though they're only down by 1 possession. They're going to start having to think about fouling. They're going to start having to foul. And you can look at Penn State Beaver not making those free throws, so there's no guarantee that would even seal them the win.
And just a heads up to let you know what the men's side is doing in this tournament. Penn State Mont Alto, which is out where I went to school in South Central Pennsylvania, defeated Penn State Beaver 90-84 in Mont Alto. So Mont Alto will await the winner of Penn State Fayette and York, who are playing currently right now. We don't have an updated score for you, but it looks like it's early on in that matchup. So Mont Alto is one of the representatives for the men in that game Tuesday night, which will happen at 8 o'clock, and you can catch both the men and women's games exclusively right here on the Champ Sports Network.
Yeah, and we've covered the men's team, Penn State Greater Allegheny, all season long, too, and did it last year, and unfortunately they've been eliminated, but a team that going from what they did last year, barely even getting double-digit wins, to now being a team that next season feels like they could be maybe in this Final Four and really, really improving as the seasons go on with now a veteran team. So give them their due even though they've been eliminated.
Adams will inbound for Penn State Beaver on the near baseline. Works it back up top, almost dangerous, and it is. Fulton gets it for Greater Allegheny. 2-on-1. Bounce pass. Carswell can't control it. A great opportunity And the only one coming out of that is Kurtz, a Beaver, who had to defend that.
Yeah, and all those
Lucky,
steals.
very lucky for her that it didn't happen the way it should have. Ball goes back to Beaver. Best way to put it. Kurtz with it now. 1 minute left here.
All those steals by Fulton to get nothing out of it.
At the campus of Greater Allegheny, Adams moves it down low. Borders goes up. And she rolls it in, and she'll get a chance to make it a three-point play. Wow.
Yeah, some foot stomping there from the fans, and Penn State Beaver got some fans here too, even though we're at Penn State Greater Allegheny. That's now a two-possession game. A team that's been trailing most of this game, they've really come alive the final few minutes.
Youngblood is out of the game. She fouls out for Greater Allegheny. Coming in for the first time this afternoon will be number 12, Brianna Audette, a freshman guard out of Coatesville, Pennsylvania. And Borders makes it a three-point play, 79-73 as Greater Allegheny lets the ball roll. Clock continues to roll as Fulton touches it. Here's Carswell working along the far end. Down low. Here's Floyd. Tries to hit it off the glass and in. Rebound. Fulton moves it back outside. Fresh shot clock for Greater Allegheny. Throws it up, and that one doesn't go, but she will be fouled, and she will head to the line. That one will be against number 23, Mason DePetro. That'll be her second personal.
Number 5, Taylor Fulton, 2 shots.
And Penn State Beaver missing free throws this entire game, finally hitting one down the stretch there. It's almost unbelievable because that really is a huge difference. Now up by 6.
Fulton, who will play this entire game once it's over, all 40 minutes. She misses her first attempt with her team down by 6. 79-73. The score remains. 34 seconds even left. Gamble will come in for Borders, who has looked very good here in a bench player situation in the second half.
And both teams needed their entire bench with some players fouling out.
Fulton's second attempt with their team down by 6 is good. 5-point game.
32,
and Borders will come back in for Gamble.
Referee telling Penn State Beaver they must put their last sub in right now with the clock stopped.
Well, they have to wait. They did a Borders and Gamble switch. Gamble out there right now. Gamble will come back in. Border will come back in for Gamble the next stoppage of play. Beaver will inbound. They lead by 5, and she's intentionally fouled by Gibson.
Yeah, and you got to, but now it's a two-possession game off of those late free throws that were made by Penn State Beaver that they had not been making all game, and you probably didn't think they were going to make. But now it really puts Penn State Beaver in the driver's seat, knowing they're going to get fouled every time they touch the basketball.
Gibson's fourth personal, as Adams will shoot 2 for Beaver. It's amazing how foul trouble has just gotten Greater Allegheny into this situation, Mike.
Yeah, and it's really, luckily Penn State Beaver didn't make more in the first half, or this game would already have been over.
First attempt by Adams is good. 6-point lead, 31.3 left here in the game. Penn State Beaver 31.3 seconds away from a trip to the the Bryce Jordan Center.
They're starting to smile too, they know.
6-point lead, and it's a 7-point lead, 81-74. Beaver leading Greater Allegheny. Final 30 seconds. 1 second difference between that and the shot clock. Long three by Fulton. No good as she heaved it up. Gamble gets it back. And we'll have a foul called on Greater Allegheny. That might do it, Mike.
Yeah, and Kurtz, who's been frowning all game, is now beaming ear to ear. As Penn State Beaver, and you know what? Penn State Greater Allegheny played a great game, but Penn State Beaver just fought back, and really it almost feels like they stole one. But these fouls, and now you're obviously going to be fouling on purpose, but the fouls throughout this game by Penn State Greater Allegheny really allowed Penn State Beaver to come back.
Carswell's first personal for Greater Allegheny. Gamble misses the first one as she just threw it up. 81-74. Teammates encourage her just to calm down. And
yeah, throws it up, and then her coaches yell at her, and she looks and said, "What did I do?" Well, you threw it up in a free throw that could win it.
Looking for insurance here. She gets it. 8-point lead for Beaver. No shot clock. 20 seconds remaining. Greater Allegheny's Fulton driving down the lane, trying to do it herself. And there will be a defensive foul on Kurtz.
Yeah, and that's not a charge because she had nothing she could do there other than go forward at the defender, even with the feet being set. So that's a good call.
Kurtz's second personal. Fulton needs to make these two.
And then so much more. They need a steal, and then it really almost seems like all she wrote.
First attempt is good, 82-75 in favor of Beaver. If the score holds up, Beaver will be playing Brandywine Tuesday night at 6 in State College. Second attempt is good by Fulton. And Borders tries to come back in, but we have a timeout. We have a timeout.
Penn State Beaver, they had the brass ring right in front of them, and they're almost becoming a blooper reel here, going in before when the referee tells them not to administer the sub. The coaches and the players are laughing, but they really got to cool themselves because 18 seconds, you never know.
Greater Allegheny takes a 60-second timeout. Now it's time to try to put something together, a 6-point lead for Penn State Beaver. As we mentioned, a first half lead coming out of the locker room. It was a close one, though, Mike, 39-36, but I think the foul trouble has really been the highlight of this. You know, we were constantly saying, oh, Beaver, you got to make those shots, and they eventually started making their free throws.
They eventually did, yeah.
They were making threes. It got them in a comfort zone where they were able to take over control really in that last 5 minutes or so of this game.
Both teams were making three-point shots. I mean, really, it was even besides the free throws. Both teams were making three-point shots. Both teams were getting stops and getting rebounds. But Penn State Beaver were missing free throws. We criticized them, but then eventually were hitting them. You can't just keep on giving a 60-plus free throw percentage team shots at the charity stripe. They just kept on getting those shots, eventually made them, and it became the difference. And at halftime, only being up by 3 for Penn State GA almost was like losing. They should have been up by so much more.
82-76. Beaver leading, and they'll have possession. 18 seconds even left on the game clock. Borders will inbound. She finally could check in to Adams, and Adams will be intentionally fouled by Fulton. And she'll go to the line for 2.
And Fulton, one of those players that's just been playing hard through the whole game, a leader of this team, a player that is a senior, so you hate to see her graduate and have her career at Penn State GA be over this way.
So Adams will shoot 2. Her team up by 6 to put a little insurance on this game. The Greater Allegheny faithful trying to they have a little cheering section here of some of the students.
They got some fans, even though this isn't a home game for them. And Penn State Beaver just can't miss a free throw in the last minute or two. They couldn't make one before. Now they can't miss one.
2 for 2 from the line was Adams on that trip. 84-76. Pretty much all over but the crying right now as we reach the final 10 seconds. Fulton working through a triple team. Gibson leaves it. That is Adet trying to go for it. Rebound. And Flowers will come up with it, and that will do it. Penn State Beaver is going to State College, and they will face Penn State Brandywine Tuesday night at 6. A game in which Penn State Greater Allegheny hosted and led by 3 at the first half. They come up short. Your final, Penn State Beaver 84, Penn State Greater Allegheny 76. Mike.
And that is a game
what can you make of this?
Well, I make of it. Greater Allegheny makes of it. It's a game they let slip away, a game they should have won, a game they played well in, a game they were the better team in the first half, but they didn't really get enough points. They left a lot on the floor. Also a lot of boneheaded mistakes off of the fouls. Penn State Greater Allegheny really let this game get away. Should have been up by more at halftime, weren't. And then Penn State Beaver just clawed in there, climbed the mountain, and able to get the win. They didn't hit free throws throughout, but they hit free throws late. They hit them tired. That's why you take those shots in practice tired. And they got to win. Kurtz and company got to win, and really all credit to them.
And that sets up our women's game, which will be at 6 o'clock on Tuesday night up at the Bryce Jordan Center. For those of you in State College who are listening to our broadcast, number 1, thank you. And number 2, it will be Penn State Beaver taking on Penn State Brandywine. And, of course, the men's game immediately following at 8 p.m. You'll have Penn State Mont Alto taking on the winner of Penn State Fayette or Penn State York. Of course, we're waiting to get an updated score on that one. That one currently in progress. We'll have some stats for you in a couple of about a minute or so. But, Mike, just looking at this game overall, we talked about it. You know, the foul trouble for Greater Allegheny eventually caught up. I know you were having you were getting a headache with Beaver not being able to make those free throws. You know, you got to make those, but eventually they got into a groove, and it started going their way with that momentum.
It did, and you learn this, too, that even though you miss free throws throughout a game, if you're keeping opportunities, you hit them, and you eventually will hit them. you eventually just keep on going with them. You take those free throws in practice tired. Any coaches that you talk to tells your team, take free throws in practice tired. When you're exhausted, we want you to take a free throw because late in the game is when they're the most important. They didn't hit them throughout. They should have, but they hit them late, and they're able to get a win.
Let's give you some final stats here as we've just been handed them. Cassandra Flowers of Penn State Beaver is your total point. Kalia Adams has the most points.
Shots probably
yes,
did it.
25 points. She was 3 of 5 from three-point range, 8 of 14 from the field. And also give a little bit of credit also to Cassandra Flowers. She had a double-double today, 23 total rebounds and 16 points.
A staggering stat. I had to
So
point
a
that one out.
double-double for Cassandra Flowers. And we look at the Penn State Greater Allegheny Nittany Lions, and a double-double for Christina Floyd, who had a good second half on the three-point line. 23 total points for her, 13 rebounds. And we'll give you the first half versus second half of how both teams did in the field and three-point range compared to how they did in the second half. We'll start off with Penn State Beaver, who won this game. From three-point range in the first half, Penn State Beaver was 3 for 7. Second half, 2 for 5. Overall, 5 and 2. In the field, 12 of 37, 32%. Second half, 16 of 34, 47%. Definitely a nice jump. And to finish off this game, Penn State Beaver was 39.4%, which just puts them slightly above their 38.8 average per game. Meanwhile, on Penn State Greater Allegheny side, first half from the field, 14 for 43. And second half, nice improvement, 15 for 36, even though they didn't get as many shots. Oh, they had as many shots, but 42%. Overall, 36.7%. And usually Penn State Greater Allegheny is shooting 39.3% from the field. From three-point range, 2 for 10 in the first half for Greater Allegheny. In the second half, 4 for 9. And that made them 6 of 19 overall. And, of course, our free throw numbers, which we'll give you for Penn State Beaver, 14 of 23 in that second half. Overall, 23 of 36.
Yeah.
64%, not great, but it's still really good.
Yeah, and they improved themselves as they kept making adjustments and keep getting better as the game went on. And also Morgan Kurtz, who I kept mentioning, 14 points, 5 rebounds. She was able to double her production from the first half to the second. These players for Penn State Beaver, you really got to hand it to them. They were getting outplayed in that first half, but they kept on going. They kept on being confident. They got over frustration, and they were able to win this game. And Penn State GA kind of did let one slip away, but that's why you got to control yourself with the fouling. They missed them early, but they hit them late, and it led to a Penn State Beaver win.
And if you're not believing us in the foul trouble Greater Allegheny got into in that second half,
but we're not going to lie. You should believe
Penn State
us.
Beaver had 23 attempts.
Yeah,
they were just free throw line.
They were just always there. They lived at that charity stripe, and they missed 14 out of 23. Most of those misses were from the first half and earlier the second half, but that final few minutes, they could not miss one. They were hitting them tired, and that's how you win a championship, is you hit free throws tired when they're given to you. Penn State GA had clutch three-point shots. They got stops. They played their game. I said if they played their A game, they should win on the pre-broadcast. They really did play their A game except for the foul trouble, and it led to a Penn State Beaver win, but these were evenly matched teams. Penn State Beaver played kind of their B-plus game in the first half, and then they played their A++ game in the second half, and it led them to now going to the Bryce Jordan Center at Happy Valley and at Penn State University to try to win a championship.
So to recap quickly of all the numbers, Kalia Adams, your points leader for Penn State Beaver, a double-double for Cassandra Flowers. For Penn State Greater Allegheny, a double-double for Christina Floyd, who led the team with 23 total points, 13 rebounds. And your final score, Penn State Beaver wins 84-76, outscoring Penn State Greater Allegheny 48-37 in that second half. And, of course, that sets up Tuesday night from the Bryce Jordan Center as Penn State Beaver will take on Penn State Brandywine in the PSUAC Women's Championship game. And, of course, the men's game, 8 p.m. following. It'll be Penn State Mont Alto against either Penn State Fayette or Penn State Beaver.
An upsetting close to the season for Penn State Greater Allegheny. Still a lot to be proud of. They did play well, but unfortunately will not move on.
Excuse me, the winner of Penn State Fayette or Penn State York, to make that clear.
We got to be right. We got to be right here. We got to be accurate.
And, of course, we'll be bringing you the exclusive coverage of that game from the Bryce Jordan Center Tuesday night right here on the Champ Sports Network. And that'll wrap things up for us. First, we want to thank Matt Fargo, our fearless leader who organizes all of this. And, of course, I want to thank Mike Asti, our color commentator who always has a lot of insightful
extraordinaire. I like
things
to call myself a color commentator.
Color commentator extraordinaire.
Thank
But
you.
with Mike Asti, our fearless leader Matt Fargo, I'm Sean Gallagher. Thank you so much. We're back Tuesday with more PSUAC basketball with the championship games beginning at 6 p.m. from State College. Until then, have a great weekend, everybody.